Hello everyone, this is ML Naruto. Welcome to my channel. So today in this video, I'll be explaining about one particular data type, that is system defined data type. So what do you mean by the system defined data type? So the name itself is actually saying that it has been defined by the system itself. Okay. So it is defined by the system itself. Hence the name system defined data type. Okay. So what are the examples of this particular data type? Nothing but integer, float, char, double, and bool, in the sense boolean, etc. So these are all the examples of the system defined data types. And actually earlier we have seen that integer usually takes some 2 bytes, in the sense 16 bits, and a float usually takes some 4 bytes. Maybe it would take some 32 bits here. But in reality, what happens is the number of bits, that is this particular, the number of bits that are allocated for each of the system defined data types usually depends upon the programming languages and the compiler that and the operating system that you use. For example, someone may use Python programming language and someone may use some different compiler, and someone may use some different operating system. And so depending upon the programming languages they use, and depending upon the compilers they use, and depending upon the operating systems they use, this particular size would vary. Okay. So for the same data type, for example, in Python, maybe the int has some x number of bytes, right? And precisely, I can call the integer can take some x number of bits. Okay. If the in the Python language, if the integer can take x number of bits, the same data type, in Java, maybe this data type may take y number of bits. Actually, the data type is same here, but depending upon the programming language and depending upon the compiler, depending upon the operating system we use, this particular size, that is either it may be x in Python and it may be y in Java, that usually differs according to the programming language and compiler and operating system that we use. So in the simplest terms, what I'm trying to say is, based on the size of the data types, for example, based on the size of the data types, how much information that these memories of boxes are actually holding, and what kind of numbers or letters that they can store will be able to change, will be changed actually. Okay. So based on the programming language or compiler or operating system, this size would definitely varies. That's it. I'll tell you with the help of an example here. For example, you know that integer can only takes, I mean, 2 Oh, sorry. One small mistake, actually. So here I have said, this is not the float one. So this is the integer 2. What I'm trying to say is, if integer takes 2 bytes, then obviously in terms of bits, it would become 16. If integer takes 4 bytes, then obviously in terms of bits, it would become 32. That's my point here. Okay. So by mistakenly, I have written float. So now coming back to this discussion. So we know that if integer takes 2 bytes or 4 bytes, then what happens? If it takes 2 bytes, then obviously it would become 16 bits, right? And if it takes 4 bytes, then obviously it would become 32 bits, right? Then what are the total possible values? If the integer takes 16 bits, then the total value would range in between 2 to the power of 16 minus 1. How much? 15. So minus 15 to 2 to the power of plus 15 minus 1. So the total value would range, would lie in this particular range. So when you compute here, then obviously you would get minus 32768 to plus 32767. So your usual value for this integer would lie in between these, in this range. Okay. Now here consider if your integer is actually taking 4 bits, 4 bytes, then the number of bits would be 32 here. Okay. Then the value would be minus 2 to the power of 32 minus 1, how much? 31. 2 and 2 to the power of 31 whole minus 1. So this would be your total value range. So your total value would lie in between minus 2147 483 648 to plus 2147 483 647. So your total value would lie in this range. So this is the thing here. So this is the same situation also with other data types too. Here I have just taken integer as an example, but when you consider float, or when you consider char, or when you consider bool, every with every single data type, the situation remains the same. The calculations remains the same, right? Depending upon the bytes, the calculation, the total values range would usually depend. So that's all for this video. I hope you like the content. If you like it, just share it with your friends. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.